All right. Where will I go? So, just looking at my just 1 minute. It's taking some time. See, this will be the last, last but one on the immunization, and then we will move on to some other subject if you are interested. I'll just okay. All right. From today, we will be talking of COVID vaccine. You can expect maximum short note on this, or probably I don't think they will ask you an essay, but still you should know what is COVID vaccine, what is the present situation, what are the vaccines available in India, whether we have to immunize our children. Are you seeing COVID cases, positive cases now?
Now we are not testing, sir.
You are not testing. But even in a severe, you had a patient who was ventilated. How is the child now? Respiratory disease. Hello? There was a
Yes,
patient.
sir.
Huh?
That patient is discharged.
No, I can't hear you.
Ventilated.
What is it?
Patient on NA, sir.
Yeah.
She discharged.
Okay. Did you test for COVID for the child?
No, flu panel only.
Flu panel does it test for COVID?
No.
Why you are not testing? You have to test for COVID for severe rare disease. How can you say you don't want to test for COVID? Then how do you know if there are patients? Anyway, the general feeling is there is no COVID. That's how the government would like it, because at least it would be a problem. I don't know whether you have read about COVID in your vaccination. It is given in the purple book, and it has been asked in short notes. But now that the epidemic is supposed to come once in 3 or 4 years, you can expect it to come. But let's go ahead now. Can you read the question, Lasima?
Which of the following best describe the primary antigenic target of all currently authorized COVID-19 vaccine? A. Nucleocapsid and protein. B. Envelope protein. C. Spike protein. D. Membrane protein. C. Spike S protein.
Spike S protein. Okay. Therefore, okay, read it now.
The major antigenic target for COVID-19 vaccine is the surface.
No. The answer you didn't see? Answer which is one which is coming up in your,
Yes, sir. Sir, both the same.
both are
Okay,
coming.
sir.
1 minute. I'll
Yes.
share the, uh, let me see what I should share. I'll share the power slideshow. Okay. Now what is coming? You are seeing the power slide only?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All approved vaccines, including mRNA, protein subunits, and viral vector platforms, are designed to elicit immune response against the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, which mediates viral entry via ACE2 receptors. While natural infection induces response to multiple proteins, vaccines focus on spike due to its critical role in neutralization.
Therefore, the spike protein is the most important thing in that. Okay. Now read what is written, that the antigenic target is written from up to date. Okay.
The major antigenic target for COVID-19 vaccine is the surface spike protein. It binds to the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptor on host cell and induces membrane fusion. Antibodies binding to the receptor binding domain of the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein prevent attachment to the host cell and neutralize the virus. Over time, all the approved vaccines have been reformulated to target the mutations in spike proteins of the various SARS-CoV-2 variants.
Oh, this is supposed to be a picture from up to date of the. Anyway, it is a protein. Is not of much importance to us. But what is significant is that what you see here is that if I use the laser point, this is the virus, SARS-2 virus, and it has got the spike protein on it. We don't have to know the constituents. What it does, the schematic structure of the spike protein is given here. And number two, the spike protein receptor. It is the receptor on the host cell in our cells is called the angiotensin ACA2 receptor. Okay. I don't know how the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptor is the same where it attaches to. It attaches binding cell fusion. It goes into. Therefore, this is the spike protein which attaches. Therefore, you create antibodies against the spike protein so that the spike protein cannot attach to a receptor. That's all we need to know. And we also know the cycle. It comes inside, receives, sends its messenger RNA, make the nucleus, the life cycle of SARS-CoV-2 may your host cells will start producing the virus, budding, and then it goes out. Therefore, this is a life cycle which is beautifully represented here. Now, coming to the next question. It's a tough question. Can you answer it? Can you read it?
In the context of vaccine efficacy calculation, if the attack rate in unvaccinated children is 20% and in vaccinated children is 4%, what is the vaccine efficacy?
There's a formula which is written. I had sent you the PowerPoint presentation. If you had gone over it casually, you would have known it. The answer is this. Vaccine efficacy is, you can read it. I will go back into and read it. How is the vaccine efficacy of any vaccine calculated? Just read it. You can get a short note on it. Can you read it?
Calculation of vaccine efficacy. Vaccine efficacy is percentage defined as a reduction in disease incidence among those who receive the vaccine versus those who receive the control product and is calculated with the following formula. Attack rate in the unvaccinated minus attack rate in the vaccinated divided by attack rate in the unvaccinated into 100.
Therefore, in this case, they have written that the attack rate in the unvaccinated is 20% and the vaccinated
90%, 80%.
Yeah, it will be 80% answer because attack rate in the attack rate in the unvaccinated is 20 minus 4. That is 16 by 20, 80%. Therefore, you must. This is not only for COVID vaccine. For any vaccine, they can ask you the what is vaccine efficacy, what is you can be asked a short of efficacy, effect, and also impact, etc. definitions. Now coming, okay, can you
Which of the following vaccine is a DNA-based vaccine approved for use in children in India? COVAX.
All right, now we come to what is known as, we had already discussed the basis of immunization, and we had discussed about the types of vaccine, live attenuated, killed vaccine, subunit vaccine, etc., etc. The classical where you can read all the platforms of vaccination is in COVID. Therefore, you should have, we will go into a theory a little now here. Now read what, can you read?
COVID vaccines available for pediatric population in India. 4 vaccines have received emergency use authorization for the pediatric population in India. These are Covaxin, Corbevax, Covovax, Zycov-D.
Now, let me tell you one thing. If you go to, I don't think any vaccine is now available. Nobody, nobody knows if there is any vaccine available. I put it in the IAP Trivandrum, and I got a letter only from Praveen who said it's not available. And then our the doctor Prathapan also gave me back telling the government has no vaccine with them now. Therefore, but this is from the India Purple Book. Our Purple Book, they say 4 vaccines have received emergency use authorization by the pediatric population. For the pediatric population, there are 4 vaccines. Uh, this says, therefore, and you people are not testing even for severe ARI, which requires ventilatory support, whether there is COVID-19. Therefore, is there COVID-19? Nobody knows. Now, anyway, that's not a very good idea. Now, what was the first vaccine that is available, which we all gave? Serum Institute, any idea? Did you take COVID vaccine?
Covishield,
Covishield. Is it available?
Covax.
Covaxin and Covishield were the vaccine. Majida, is Covishield available now? Majida is gone or what? Okay, Lasima, is it available now? Can you
As a
hear me?
Covax is
Is it in the market? I mean, now read what had happened to Covishield first.
the COVID-19 vaccine was developed by AstraZeneca along with Oxford University's marketed under the brand name Covishield. Uh, Vaxzevria, and AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine for other markets. As part its social commitment, Zeneca had signed an agreement with WHO under the umbrella GAV, that is Global Alliance for Vaccine and Immunization, for manufacturing and supplying these vaccines at prices less than $4 per dose. It was in the context a joint agreement was signed among Gavi, Serum Institute and Melinda Gates Foundation for manufacturing Covishield in India on condition that 200 doses will be distributed around 75 low-income or middle-income countries.
I think it will be 200,000. You remember that this was a great achievement of the Modi government. In fact, Modi flew into Serum Institute and congratulated them, and they gave vaccine free to all the African and many countries, while America and the Western countries bought 3 times, 4 times they need and stored it so that the others don't get it. Therefore, that was Serum Institute Covishield, path breaking. Then what happened now? What is Covishield and what is Covaxin?
Covishield
Okay.
and Covaxin were both widely used COVID-19 vaccine in India, but they use different technologies. Covishield is a recombinant chimpanzee adenovirus vector vaccine similar to the AstraZeneca vaccine, while Covaxin is a whole inactivated virus vaccine. Covishield targets the spike S protein, whereas Covaxin generates antibodies against multiple components of the whole virus, which may offer broader protection against new variants.
Yeah.
Covishield, type A recombinant chimpanzee adenovirus vector vaccine, developer Serum Institute of India. Mechanism, it uses harmless chimpanzee adenovirus to deliver genetic material into cells, prompting them to produce the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, which triggers an immune response.
Okay.
Serum Institute of India stopped Covishield production due to reduced demand, pause high vaccination rates. They disclosed rare side effects like thrombosis for thrombocytopenia syndrome since 2021, emphasizing transparency commitment. AstraZeneca acknowledged this rare side effect.
Let me tell you what really happened. The COVID, though they write like this, actually what happened is the AstraZeneca was sued by in the Western in England for causing thrombosis and thrombocytopenia in some patients, and they withdrew the vaccine immediately. And they said if that is the case, we are withdrawing. We have no money to pay the compensation, etc. Therefore, immediately on the same basis, therefore Covishield would also be sued in India. Therefore, that drug has been withdrawn. Remember, the Serum Institute Covishield, the company has withdrawn the company, which all of us took. You understand? That is the problem of. Now we come to Covaxin. Okay, read it first.
Covaxin, this is a whole virion inactivated vaccine from the NAV 2020-770 strain developed by Bharat Biotech India and the Indian Council of Medical Research. The live virus has been inactivated by the use of beta propiolactone. The vaccine is adjuvanted with alum and quinolone, which is a toll-like receptor 7 by 8 agonist. The vaccine received the emergency USA authorization in India on January 3, 2021. The vaccine is administered in a two-dose schedule on 0-20 days.
Okay, the whole virion is this just a killed vaccine. Okay, Bocovax, this is how you produce it. How vaccines were produced for generations. That is killed vaccine. And therefore, we have ruled that when there are killed vaccine, there should be two doses, and the minimum interval will be 4 weeks. That's all you need to know. The rest of it is not so important. But even with this, there was a lot of debate. If you had listened on when Covaxin came, is booster dose required? Is booster dose required? I thought it was all trash when we know that all killed vaccine requires two doses. One dose is not enough. The second dose is also a primary dose. Therefore, Covaxin is a kill vaccine given in 0 and 28 days. If you look at Covishield also, the only difference is this, the antibodies are against the whole virus, because the spike protein alone antibodies are produced. Therefore, you are incorporating adenovirus, and only the spike protein is introduced inside. Okay, read it. You can read it fast, is not so important. You're not seeing the slide or what?
Yes, sir.
Read
In the
it.
phase 3 study, um,
We have a
in
lot of
phase 3 study,
yeah.
demonstrated an efficacy of 77.8%, that is 95% confidence interval against symptomatic COVID-19, 93.4% against severe symptomatic COVID-19. The vaccine
1 minute,
demonstrated an
Dr.
efficacy of
Lasima. I will just show you what is important, because the most frequently solicited symptoms of AE were headache followed by pyrexia, fatigue, and myalgia, less than 1%. In fact, fatigue was a very important thing. Headache, pyrexia, these were the common reaction. Therefore, this is not so important. Covaxin, you remember, killed vaccine, two doses. That's a live killed vaccine. Now it was called Corbevax. The other vaccine which is available. Yeah, read it, Lasima.
Corbevax is a protein subunit vaccine containing receptor binding domain of S protein produced through recombinant technology utilizing the Pichia pastoris expression system.
1 minute. The Pichia
This
pastora
vaccine
system means that is a yeast grown in yeast. Pichia pastora is a type of yeast. Now you can miss all this. Uh, you read this: stimulates antibody protection, helper CD4 and CD8 cells, robust T and B cell memory. And the schedule is two doses, again 2 days apart. Therefore, this is a protein subunit vaccine. The other is a killed vaccine. Can you tell me any protein subunit vaccine which we have in our we are giving regularly in immunization? Ashwati, you are there? Which is the other protein sub, not about this one, what you call COVID vaccine. Any other vaccine which is a protein subunit? Any idea?
hepatitis
Yeah, hepatitis B, HPV, varicella, etc. subunit vaccines. Corbevax is such one. It's a kill vaccine, 2 days. Okay. Stored in 2 to 8. You know that 2 to 8 degree does not contain any preservative. Therefore, it is now the only thing you have to know is it can be given above the age of 5 years. Therefore, what is the dose interval? What is the time? At which it is given are only important. Certain fundamental issues alone you need know. Now there is something called Covovax, which is manufactured by the Serum Institute. Now they have stopped manufacturing the Covishield. Therefore, that is a recombinant nanoparticle vaccine. Two doses again. I am in 0 and 21 days. I don't know why 21 days. It should have been 28 days. And this gene of the SARS-CoV spike protein, which is modified by incorporating two proline molecules. Anyway, this is the COVAX is not so far in the market, as far as I could understand. It has not got the authorization, at least when the purple book came about. and in India as Covax TM, Covovax. Remember, the name is little approved by the Drug Controller of India. Therefore, there's another vax now, 12 to 17 years. Here it is again only about 12 years. Therefore, the years are important. Therefore, now comes the Psychovid. Psychovid is read this is important. Can you read it? Lasima?
This is a DNA-based vaccine for the prevention of COVID-19. It comprises a DNA plasmid vector carrying full-length spike gene region expressing SARS-CoV-2 spike S protein along with gene coding for the signal peptide. The spike gene region was selected from the submitted Wuhan HU1 isolate sequence.
1 minute. Comprise DNA plasmid bag carries the DNA full-length spike gene region. Therefore, it produces the full length of the spike gene expressing the SARS code spike protein it produces. Therefore, it sends the DNA inside, and the DNA is incorporated into a cell of the body, and it starts manufacturing this. The DNA construct was transformed into E. coli cells for large-scale production. Of course, the S protein of the virus, including in the receptor binding protein, receptor binding domain responsible for binding human angiotensin converting receptor, which mediates entry of the virus. That's all the same. Therefore, remember this is a DNA-based virus, Psychovid, which is available in India. And 2 doses, 0 to 280. The advantage of Psychovid is that it can be used without an injection, intradermally, needle-free injector. Therefore, that is why the advantage of Psychovid is not an injection. It need not have an injection. Therefore, children may like it. In April 2022, UAID, the drug controller government of India, 2-dose vaccine has been worked. Now, everything may be confusing, but this is enough. This here, Corvovax is not there, but others are there. Therefore, the main characteristics of this we have identified in a table. You can read it downwards. Covaxin, read it downwards.
Covaxin type is inactivated virus. Indication 6 to 12 years and older. Mechanism introduce kill the virus to trigger antibody production. Advantages widely available, effective against multiple variants. Corbevax is a protein subunit indicated in 5 to 12 years and older. Introduce harmless spike protein to trigger antibody production. And the advantages are moderately effective against COVID-19, effective against multiple variants, including Omicron. Zycov-D, it's a DNA plasmid indicated in 12 years and older. Mechanism use plasmids with genetic information to activate immune response. Advantages needle-free administration may be preferred by some, potentially easier storage requirements.
Okay. There were now here they have written is multiple variants including Omicron. What is Omicron? Can anybody say?
Omicron is a new variant of.
Okay. New variant of what? Somebody has gone now already. New variant of what? I'm just trying to tell you.
New variant of COVID strain.
Therefore, Majida joined, and Majida is there, Lazima is there, Faris has come, and Ashwati is disappeared as usual. Now, can you tell me what is it? I'm just.
There it's a mutant variant.
Yeah.
SARS-CoV.
Yeah, it is a new mutant which is supposed to be more problematic. You understand that? Okay, that is therefore Corbevax is supposed to be effective against it. I was surprised at that. Anyway, you are seeing the real one, or are you seeing in two? You are seeing a PowerPoint presentation only clearly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, therefore, for Covovax is not mentioned here because I don't know, maybe it's a new one and it's a nanoparticle vaccine which is above 12 years. Therefore, remember the Indian vaccines are all above 5 years only. If at all you want to give above 5 years, you have to give Corbevax. If you want to give Covaxin, you have to give about 6 years, and Zycovid about 12 years. I think during the epidemic, the government came back with the telling that you can give Covaxin about 2 years or something. Here, one point which is surprising me for me is includes only thing active against Omicron is Corbevax as per this table. Okay. For which of the table vaccine is a DNA vaccine? What's the answer to that? Which is the DNA vaccine? Majida, can you answer? Are you there, first of all?
Zycov-D, sir.
Yes, I COVID. Okay, we have answered. Can you read the answer quick?
Zycov-D is the world's first plasmid DNA vaccine for COVID-19, approved by DCGI in August 2021 and later as two-dose for more than 12 years. It uses a needle-free injector for intradermal delivery.
Okay, now let's go ahead. Okay.
What is the most likely explanation for the lack of superior immunogenicity of bivalent vaccines targeting BA4 and BA5 compared to monovalent boosters? A. Poor manufacturing quality. B. Immune imprinting. C. Insufficient mRNA dose. D. Rapid degeneration of BA4 and BA5 mRNA.
Do you know the answer? What is bivalent vaccine? Bivalent vaccine means the vaccine which is effective against the original Wuhan strain as well as the Omicron strain. Omicron strain came about later. It undergoes some mutation, and therefore what happened is it was more spreading more faster and more dangerous. Therefore, they started manufacturing bivalent vaccine, but it showed lack of superior immunogenicity. If you had seen my PowerPoint presentation, I had given about 4 or 5 slides regarding that only. Bivalent vaccines are described in the in the purple book. Is a passing mention is there. They say both Pfizer and Moderna has produced bivalent vaccine. Both formulations are recommended only for booster dose. Therefore, they target both. There's a new generation which wants to, because to target Moderna also. Now, regarding bivalent vaccine, well, if you're appearing for DNB, you can be asked newer vaccines. And one of the newer vaccine is a bivalent vaccine, but it was a failure. Now read this fast. This is from a New England Journal article in February 2023, given beautifully. Read it first.
Original COVID-19 vaccines targeted the ancestral Wuhan 1 strain. As the virus evolved, highly mutated variants like Omicron BA1 emerged, significantly evading immunity from previous vaccination or infection, though protection against severe disease largely remained. Development of bivalent vaccines. In response to BA1, Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna developed bivalent boosters combining mRNA for the ancestral strain with mRNA for BA1. However, data presented to the FDA in June 2022 showed only a modest increase in neutralizing antibodies against BA1 compared to monovalent boosters, deemed unlikely to be clinically significant.
Okay.
Rapid policy shift and authorization. Despite the lack of strong immunogenicity data and the fact that BA1 was already displaced in the US, public health officials facing winter and emerging immune evasive subvariants made rapid decisions. The FDA authorized bivalent boosters targeting BA4 or BA5 based on the assumption they would be better than monovalent ones. The CDC withdrew authorization for monovalent boosters and recommended bivalent boosters for everyone 5+ years old. The US government purchased large quantities before any human efficacy data for BA4 or BA5 existed. Next is lack of superior efficacy. Shortly after authorization, two key studies published preprint data showing no significant difference in utilizing antibody levels against BA4 or BA5 or in T cell responses between people receiving the bivalent booster versus the monovalent booster.
Okay.
Explanation: immune imprinting. The author argues the failure stems from immune imprinting. People's immune systems, primed by the original vaccine series, preferentially responds to conserved epitopes shared between the ancestral strain and BA4 or BA5 rather than generating a strong new response against the unique epitopes of the newer variants. The presence of the ancestral strain mRNA in the bivalent vaccine likely dominated the response. Limited real world benefit and waning use. CDC data showed only a modest short term increase in protection against symptomatic infection with the bivalent booster compared to a recent monovalent dose. This benefit was likely temporary. Furthermore, BA4, BA5 were quickly replaced by even more immune evasive BQ1XBB, etc., making the bivalent vaccines largely obsolete shortly after rollout. Uptake was slow.
Okay.
The conclusion and lessons learned. The bivalent vaccine strategy, based on rapid policy action without robust evidence, was largely ineffective due to immune imprinting. Vaccines still effectively prevent severe disease from variants. Future booster strategies should focus on high risk groups like older adult, immunocompromised, those with comorbidities who need protection against severe illness rather than attempting to prevent all mild infections in healthy young people using vaccines targeting strains likely to disappear quickly. The experience highlights the need for more rigorous evidence before widespread policy changes, especially when dealing with rapidly evolving viruses and complex immunological phenomena like imprinting.
This is the question which triggered the whole discussion. What's the answer?
Immune imprinting.
Immune imprinting. Now, this is something which came about in the New England Journal, and that's the reason why it came about. What is immune imprinting basically means that if just a strain, you add another, they just send a messenger RNA, make the produce the Omicron strain antibodies also. But the problem is there are shared antigens between the original Wuhan strain and the Omicron strain. The antibodies were preferentially produced against the original strain. Immune imprinting. The body doesn't recognize. Where you can read it. You can read it. What's the answer to it? Rationale.
Immune imprinting refers to the phenomena where prior exposure, that is via vaccination or infection to ancestral strain, dominates the immune response, leading to preferential recall of conserved epitopes rather than generating novel antibodies against new variant-specific epitopes. This was the central argument in Offit's NEJM perspective.
This is the original article by NEJM. I quoted it in extensively to know two things. One, bivalent vaccines are not. Immune imprinting can come as a short note for you. What is immune imprinting? There's a new thing that has come up. And further, I would like you to understand one thing. When they fail, science says it is a failure. You have to understand this. Many people very much criticize the Western media, the science. They say that they are all money oriented, etc. But when something is failure, they openly tell it as failure. That is science. Explanation. Anyway, rather than generating, we have already seen this is given in the okay. Okay, now, yeah.
For an immunocompetent child aged 3 years in the US receiving their first COVID-19 vaccine in September 2025, which dosing schedule is recommended?
Let me stop you here. But for example, I don't want you to know about what is international given. It may not be necessary for you, but I would just go through it in a very short manner. Therefore, you should know what are the internationally available COVID vaccine, which is not available in India. Can you tell me what is internationally available? Now, let's go to the internationally available vaccine. And you would find that I would go very carefully in this, okay? This is not coming. Okay. Okay. Now, you would have known that the original Moderna vaccine is a messenger RNA vaccine, which encodes the perfusion. Okay, you do one thing. You can read it downwards. Majida, can you read it downwards? From these two columns, yeah.
Original Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. It is an mRNA vaccine and encodes the perfusion stabilized spike glycoprotein of the LP81 Omicron variant. Next is modified Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. It is mRNA vaccine, encodes the receptor binding and N-terminal domains of spike protein of the LP81 Omicron variant. Pfizer or BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. It is also mRNA vaccine, encodes the spike protein of the LP81 Omicron variant. Novavax COVID-19 vaccine, recombinant protein or adjuvanted, contain the recombinant spike protein of the JN1 Omicron variant.
Okay, now there's a new platform that has come. You can be asked what are the platforms of vaccine. One is killed, one is live, one is nanoparticle, one is subunit vaccine, and the new one which came in COVID was the DNA and the RNA vaccine. We will come into that a little theory. Therefore, this messenger RNA encodes a perfusion stabilized spike glycoprotein. Here it modified one encodes the receptor binding and N-terminal domains of this receptor binding by here's the glycoprotein which is target. So anyway, now what's the advantage? This was considered a major advantage in messenger RNA. Can you read this?
Which one's it?
Schedule for individual without only the top.
Okay. Schedule for individual without moderate to severe immunocompromising condition. For original Moderna COVID-19 vaccine, no prior COVID-19 vaccine, to 2025-2026 formula vaccine doses 1 month apart. If one prior COVID-19 vaccine, then one 2025-26 formula vaccine dose 1 month later. 2 or more non-25-26 COVID-19 vaccine, then one 25-26 formula vaccine dose at least 2 months after the last dose.
Okay, remember one thing here, that only the RNA vaccines are from 6 months to 23 months. The one which was available, we saw Corbevax was available from 5 years, others from 6 years, Sycovid only after 12 years. Therefore, they are authorized. Here also, you will find that it is only the original Moderna vaccine, 6 months. Modified Moderna vaccine is from 12 years only. Okay. Pfizer's vaccine is from 5 years also. So these are important in Western world. But my question to you is simple. You have been in pediatrics. What's the present? Do we give COVID vaccines now to children regularly?
No.
Do we give it to adults? Suppose somebody comes and asks you, doctor, should I take a COVID vaccine? What will you tell? I had put this question in the IAP column. Not many people replied. Praveen replied back to me telling that Prathapan replied back to me telling government does not have any COVID vaccines now. And Praveen said even in the private, I don't think it's available. But the Purple Book gives 4 vaccines which are available in India. And are you supposed to give it in children? You must know at least that when you give in pediatrics. Before that, we will go into what the Western countries say about it. You can read. We recommend, that is up to date. There's a much confusion in the Western world. Up to date says something. American Academy of Pediatrics says something. CDC says something. Now let's say what the up to date says. Yeah, read it.
We recommend COVID-19 vaccination for individuals aged 6 months and older who are at high risk for severe outcomes with COVID-19. These include individuals younger than 4 years old, individuals 65 years and older, immunocompromised individuals, and individuals with underlying medical comorbs. For people at lower risk, example, healthy older children and healthy younger adult, we individualize the decision to vaccinate. Although their risk of severe outcomes with COVID-19 is lower, some risk remains, and vaccination is an appropriate option for such individuals who prioritize minimizing that risk.
Okay, now below 4 years they are advising, but none of the vaccines here can be given. 65 years and older. This is what they are advising up to date. Let's go ahead and see what others. See, you can read it fast because finally we will be. I think by our COVID vaccination for CDC is evolving. The CDC recommendation recommends for all adults aged 18 years and older. Remember, there they have written 65, here they have written 18 years, and for children 6 months to 17 years with a moderately severe immunocompromising condition. As an immunocompetent children, CDC advises shared decision making in children. If the child is immunocompetent above 4 years, it should be shared decision. You tell the mother there's a mild risk. If you want to take, you take. Otherwise, you need not take. As an example, the American Academy recommends vaccination for all immunocompromised children. All children 6 to 23 months they are advising, and all we are not very interested in AAP recommendations. Okay. Therefore, you can remember that the vaccination varies. Above 4 years, it is definitely some people advise. Immunocompromised, you advise. But for normal children, up to 4 years, sometimes advise. Above 4 years, immunocompetent, you discuss with the parents of low risk. But why do you want to give the vaccination? Is there any need? In India, they will say there's no need, but there is an indication. Read the last sentence. Can you read the last paragraph, I mean?
Vaccination reduces the risk of COVID-19, especially severe or critical disease, and has been associated with substantial reductions in COVID-19 associated hospitalizations and deaths, even in the context of variants that partially evade vaccine-induced immune responses. They have also associated with a lower risk of persistent symptoms following acute infection.
Remember, vaccinations has its place. Diseases, severe critical disease, it does prevent. Remember that we are not testing it. Even when there's a critical illness, you don't test it, but you don't know if it is present. And then you say it is not required. This is an ostrich attitude which we are taking. It's very unfortunate. Can you? Okay. Now I'll read through it very fast. Safe and only associate severe remains an important cause hospital, in particular in older years, 65, therefore it is given. I'll go back into now here they have a recommendation for vaccination. They have given by age and immune, emphasizing for high risk individuals and low risk individuals. Everyone aged 6 months and older who is at increased risk should be vaccinated. This includes 65 years and older, 4 years and younger, especially below 2 years, according to Western standards, immunocompromised, individuals with underlying medical conditions. We know all that. Therefore, remember, they are advising 6 months to 2 years. Children aged under 4 years, especially 2 years. You have vaccines only in the Western world from 6 months. We don't have it. Therefore, I don't know what you should say. But definitely 65 years and older, internationally accepted. Therefore, now, the others they are high risk. What is the lower risk? Healthy older children and young adults have a lower risk of severe outcome. Vaccination is still an appropriate option. Remember that for those who wish to minimize the risk of infection or potential long-term effects, but this is not universally mandated. But we are in a gray zone. You can't say it is not required. You can explain the risk to them. Definitely, it reduces severe disease. Long COVID, it reduces. And you can also tell your patient that we are not testing, therefore we don't know whether COVID exists in Kerala now. The government probably doesn't want. Okay. Therefore, the recommended dose is 6 months to 4 years, single dose formula is recommended. Previously vaccinated, you should require 2 doses. Unvaccinated, 5 to 64, single dose approved is recommended regardless of prior vaccination. From 5 years onwards, single dose is enough. Above 6 years, again, 2 doses are required 2 months apart. Therefore, this is what is given. 5 to 64, remember, only a single dose is required. We are not very concerned. I'm just telling you. I'm passing off very fast because we don't have much time. I'm not very bothered about this. This immunocompromised children, modified schedule to potentially reduce immune response, at least 2 doses. Additional dose beyond second year are individualized. For chemotherapy, repeat vaccinations recommended at least 3 months after hematopoietic cell or CAR T cell therapy. Okay, that's all. Now, the question is, now this is a fundamental question. I will make you read it. Many people will say we need not vaccinate. No longer it is required. Is there any benefit of vaccination? They will say there's no epidemic, therefore we don't have the benefit. Now read it. What's the answer given here? If somebody asks you what is the benefit of vaccination here, what is it? Can you read it?
Severe, sir, severe disease or death, vaccination significantly reduces the risk of severe illness, hospitalization, and death across all age groups, including during periods dominated by immune evasive variants like Omicron sublineages. Effectiveness against severe outcomes is higher and more durable than against infection. For symptomatic infection, vaccination reduces the risk of symptomatic infection, but effectiveness wanes over time and is lower against newer variants. Booster provide temporary increase in protection. For transmission, vaccination likely reduce the likelihood of transmitting the virus to others. Long COVID, vaccination is associated with a lower risk of developing long COVID, that is persistent symptoms after acute infection, and may improve symptoms in some individuals with existing long COVID. Overall health, vaccination has been associated with reductions in non-COVID-19 mortality and major adverse cardiovascular events following the infection.
There's no doubt that vaccination is beneficial even in non-epidemic systems. Severe disease, death can be prevented. Now go to the adult and ask them when they have severe respiratory distress in the adult, when they ventilate, at least in them, do they do a COVID test? Or is it mandated by the government not to do? I'm not sure. Therefore, that's what I understood. Anyway, you will have to look into it. Definitely, therefore, if some patient asks you, your father or somebody who's above 65 asks you if it is available, definitely it is worthwhile giving it. Now, the next question that comes in everybody's mind is risk and safety. Okay. Now, what do you say about the side effect of COVID vaccine? What do they say about it? Any idea? What side effect is very much highlighted in the press? Who are there? I don't know. Can anybody say what is highlighted in the press nowadays?
More chance of thrombotic events, sir.
Yeah, thrombotic events. Yeah, thrombotic events are highlighted, and that is what is prevented the anything else intracerebral hemorrhage. They said that remember thrombocytopenia, intracerebral hemorrhage can happen, and that's why the vaccine is dangerous, and any death is attributed to vaccination, etc. There are a lot of problems in the Western world. Now, what is the scientific opinion about it? Is this vaccine dangerous? What will you advise if somebody asks you, say, should you vaccinate the child? What will you say to them? Somebody comes and says, Doctor, we are going to Africa, we are going there, the vaccine will not be available. Should I vaccinate my child? What will be your answer, Majida? Is above 5 years, probably in India you can give if it is available. Below 5 years, nothing is available, but you can't give. In Western world, you can take the mRNA vaccine. Now go it. Okay, now read it. You don't seem to have any idea. Read it fast.
Regarding the general safety, COVID-19 vaccines are exceedingly safe. The benefits vastly outweighs the risk for recommended populations. Common side effects are local reactions like pain, redness, swelling, and
What happened then? Systemic reactions.
And systemic reactions, fatigue, headache, myalgia, fever, chills are common, usually mild, moderate, and resolve within a few days. Rates are generally slightly higher with Moderna mRNA than Pfizer mRNA or Novavax.
I see. Okay, there's serious events. Okay. Can you read it?
Rare serious events, myocarditis or pericarditis, a very rare risk primarily observed in adolescent and young adult male after the second mRNA dose. Cases are typically mild, respond well to treatment, and resolve quickly. The risk of myocarditis from SARS-CoV-2 infection.
What happened? I'm not really hearing you. Is significantly higher than from vaccination. Majida, I can't hear you. If somebody else can read. Lasima, you're there.
Yes, sir.
Can you read? The risk of myocarditis from SARS-CoV-2 infection. Significantly.
Myocarditis.
Yeah.
Myocarditis or pericarditis is a very rare risk primarily observed in adolescent and young adult male after the second mRNA dose. Cases are typically mild, respond well to treatment, and resolve quickly. The risk of myocarditis from SARS-CoV-2 infection itself is significantly higher than from vaccination.
Okay, remember, tell this. They are not talking of intracerebral hemorrhage and thrombocytopenia, which are supposed to be due to this vector virus, AstraZeneca as well as Covishield. As far as mRNA vaccine is concerned, the Western world and whatever vaccine is remaining now, they are talking only of myocarditis and pericarditis, which is supposed to be mild, usually responds to treatment. And that myocarditis and pericarditis are more common with SARS-CoV-2 than with vaccination. What are the other severe reactions? Read it.
Anaphylaxis, an extreme rare event that is less than 5 per million doses, usually occurring within minutes and managed effectively in clinical settings. No credible evidence links vaccination to infertility, Guillain-Barré syndrome, ischemic stroke, or other major adverse events beyond those listed above. The adenoviral vector vaccine associated with vaccine-induced immune thrombocytopenic purpura are no longer available in the US.
And GBS, global GBS also, that is Guillain-Barré syndrome, no longer available in US, but is not available in India also now. Okay. If there is a prior identification, okay, read it. Key consideration.
Prior
Prior infection.
vaccine is still recommended after prior SARS-CoV-2 infection as it boosts and broadens immunity, providing better protection against reinfection and severe disease. Waiting 3 months post-infection is reasonable but not required. Multisystem inflammatory syndrome. Vaccination is generally recommended for individuals with a history of MISC after recovery, that is more than 90 days, as it appears protective against recurrent MISC. Pregnancy. Vaccination is strongly recommended during pregnancy to protect both the mother and infant. Co-administration. COVID-19 vaccines can be safely administered simultaneously with the other vaccine like influenza. Serologic testing. Post-vaccination antibody testing is not recommended to determine the need for additional doses as correlates of protection are complex and commercial tests vary.
See, during the COVID epidemic, this was another thing. Should I take a booster dose? Many people came and said on the TV, you can do a serological test and decide. No, post-vaccination antibody testing is not the basis by which you take a second dose. So not. Remember this. All these are key consideration. I'll go through it. I will just say something in which has come about in over the years because I don't want to waste time. In the America, they are giving annual COVID boosters. Okay. All the Americans over the age of 6 months, they are advising COVID boosters every year. Europe does not do it. Other people don't do it. That has been criticized. That's what did it. It is not like influenza. Therefore, it is not advised. But still understand one thing in the Western world also, the dose, whether the indication for COVID vaccine varies from CDC to even American Academy of Pediatrics. About the COVID vaccination, Europe does not have annual vaccination. No other country other than the America has. America goes about giving the annual COVID vaccine. That's all you need to remember. What about Indian Academy of Pediatrics? What does it say about COVID vaccination? Majida, you are there or not there? I'm not knowing who has logged in. That's a problem. Can you give the names of who are there online now?
Sir, Lasima, Rose, and Faris.
Lasima Denbu?
Rose,
sir.
Faris.
Oh, okay. Paris, I mean, what is the, do you give COVID vaccine here?
No, sir.
What's it?
Not giving.
Not given. Is it advised by the IAP? What's the IAP's admission? Rose, do you give it in there?
No, sir.
No, sir. Somebody comes and asks a 10-year-old child, I'm going to UK or I'm going to Gulf. I won't get COVID vaccine there. Shall I take it? What will you tell him? If it is available, can you give?
If a 10-year-old child is not recommended.
Yeah, it is low risk category. We were discussing is a low risk category. Definitely, the vaccine is effective in controlling severe infection. Therefore, it is low risk category. If the parents don't want to take that low risk, you can give them. There's no problem in that. That's what we have been mentioning. High risk, of course, you have to give. But in India, I think the vaccine availability is above 5 years. I'm doubtful whether it is available now. Covaxin is probably what is called Corbevax, Psychovid. They are available or not available. I'm not too sure. Therefore, but annual, see, if you look at IAP, there is no COVID vaccine recommendation. Okay, the vaccination schedule in children, and naturally, the national immunization schedule does not give. Now, what does the Indian government say about Covishield vaccine, COVID vaccine in adults? Your father, if you want to know, if I just go here, this is the dosing schedule by the International Journal of Community Medicine Public Health. This is the API guidelines 2024. That is the Association of Physicians of India. COVID-19 route of administration dose to special population, if applicable, recommended above 50 years. Actually, in the Western countries, they have written above 65 years. Above recommended above 50 years. Key consideration at time of pandemic or local epidemic situation, routine administration is strongly recommended, or even during pregnancy, 2 doses at least 4 weeks apart. They stress about pregnancy. The APA stresses that during pregnancy, 2 doses should be. All pandemic you should give. And they say it is recommended above 50 years, and that is what is recommended. But I don't think that any of our gynecologists know anything about this, and neither are the pediatricians aware of it. I don't know whether the vaccines are available also. Therefore, and you don't test for COVID. Do you test for COVID, Rose, in Aster?
Nowadays, they have restarted testing COVID.
Are you testing? Or yes or no?
Yes.
You are testing.
Yes, sir.
Which patients?
All the children patients were admitted in ICU.
Oh, children. See, that must be the policy. I don't know why PRS is not doing it. How else will you know whether there is it coming positive there?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. What did I say? 1 minute. I think this we know. Okay, now remember, read this. What's the we are coming only to question 5. We have to go fast now. Majida, read it fast. ആരെങ്കിലും വായിക്കൂ. Somebody read, please.
For an immunocompetent child aged 3 years in the US receiving their first COVID-19 vaccine in September 2025, which dosing schedule is recommended? A 2 dose of 50 microgram Moderna 4 weeks apart, B. 1 dose of 25 microgram Moderna, 2025-26 formula. C. 2 dose of 25 microgram original Moderna vaccine. That is 25 to 26, 1 month apart. D. 3 dose of 10 microgram Pfizer, 4 weeks apart.
Now, if you look at it very carefully, the original Moderna injection, which is given here, messenger RNA vaccine, 6 months to 33 months. Therefore, that is the only thing which is available from 6 months to 23 months. Is given no, they are written that 2 doses if they are not given, or 1 dose if 1 dose was given before. It's not very important for us. That's why I'm writing it very fast. Now, here the question was 3-year-old child. Therefore, the 3 years, it comes here. And 12 to 64 years, no, sorry, 2 to 11 years. 2 to 11 years, they are writing only 1 dose of Moderna formula vaccine is required. And 65 years, 2 doses are required. That is original Moderna vaccine. And this is modified Moderna vaccine is only from 5 years onwards. Now, the question here was 3 years receiving first more COVID vaccine in schedule. The answer given is dosing schedule. The answer given here is what is called as 6 months to 4 years or unvaccinated. 2 doses of Moderna vaccine are recommended given 1 month apart. Modified Moderna is not approved. Actually, it should be 1 dose. If you look at this, if you look at this carefully, the original Moderna, 2 to 11 years, it's only 1 dose. Therefore, there's some mistake in the answer. We'll skip it in. Now, my question is next. Paris, read it.
In developing countries, why might all inactivated virus vaccine like Covaxin be preferred over mRNA vaccine? A. Higher efficacy against severe disease. B. No requirement of ultra cold chain storage. C. Low cost of production globally. D. Single dose regimen. Sir, B, sir.
Yeah, you can read it. You see, read it.
Covaxin, this inactivated, can be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, unlike early mRNA vaccines requiring minus 70 degrees. This makes it far more feasible for low resource setting, which limited cold chain infrastructure.
Okay, the mRNA vaccine minus 70 not possible in us. Okay, even the we are finding problem with OPV itself. Okay, read it fast. Faster you can read. I am reading it. Which of the following Rose, can you read it fast because we are very low in their time.
Which of the following groups is not prioritized for routine COVID-19 vaccination according to the up-to-date 2025? Children aged 3 years or 3 years with asthma, healthy 16-year-old adolescents, healthy 10-year-old without comorbidity who refuses vaccination, a 68-year-old with type 2 diabetes. C, sir.
Yeah, okay. The rationale, read it.
The rationale up-to-date recommends vaccination for high-risk group, age less than 4 years or more than 65 years, immunocompromised with comorbidity. For healthy older children and young adult, vaccination is individualized, not universally mandatory. Refusal does not change recommendation but reflects shared decision making.
According to up-to-date, below 4 years to 6 months to 4 years, yes, an indication. Above 65 is an indication. But 4 to 18, it is mandated in some other people. They say only if they is a low risk. Therefore, that's what it is. High risk is age 4 years. We are told about it. And see, lower risk is what we are healthy children, older children, young adults. Lower risk is an option. Therefore, you have to give it. That is 4 years and younger, definitely. Above 4 years, no. Okay, now.
According to what is the recommendation interval between 2 doses of 2025 to 2026 formula for immunocompetent adult aged more than 65 years? 3 weeks, 4 weeks, approximately 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
6 months is not weeks, okay. It is actually more than 65 two doses of vaccine recommended space 6 months apart. See, the more you space, the better will be the long-term immunity. One vaccine itself will protect, therefore you don't give. Normally, two vaccines, final doses, 8 weeks is a minimum interval. But when the first dose itself protects, you may not give that. For human papilloma virus, the minimum is 5 months. For varicella, it is 3 months. For here, it is 6 months is required. Minimum is 2 months. Therefore, if you remember modified vaccine, encodes here 65 years and older, two doses of vaccine 6 months apart. This is what is given here. Not very important for us, but I just read it. Okay.
A 7-year-old child received 2 doses of the 2023-2024 monovalent XBB.1.5 vaccine. What is the current recommendation for a booster in September 2025?
I'll read the answer for you. Which one is the answer? Answer is one dose of 2025 formula. Okay. For individuals aged 5 to 64 years, regardless of prior vaccination history, a single dose of updated formula is required. Therefore, this is here Pfizer. If you look at it, 5 to 11 years or 12 to 64 years, a single dose is only advised. This is not again very important. We can't remember this. Now, this you should know. Okay, read it.
Which the following is true regarding post-vaccination serological testing. It is routinely recommended before administering boosters. It is not recommended to determine the need for additional doses. Anti-nucleocapsid titers predict protection against reinfection. Commercial tests reliably measure neutralizing antibody levels. Not recommended.
Yeah, you are answering very well, Rose. But this was what even during the COVID season, repeatedly they were asking, should I give a booster before taking booster? Should I test the antibody? Many experts were coming and giving very valuable. Okay, can you go ahead? Read it.
It explicitly states that the serological testing post-vaccination is not indicated to guide boosting. Correlates the protection are complex commercial assays and cellular immunity may be protected even if humoral response is low.
What's the last one in the bracket?
Serological testing post-vaccination antibody testing is not recommended to determine the need for additional doses as correlates of protection are complex and commercial tests vary.
Okay.
In a resource limited setting, which vaccine platform is least dependent on advanced logistics? mRNA, viral vector, inactivated virus, protein subunit vaccine. Inactivated.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Inactivated vaccine like Covaxin require only standard refrigeration 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, whereas mRNA vaccine need ultra cold storage. Viral vectors and protein subunit also have better stability than mRNA, but inactivated remains most accessible.
Now this comes to a DNB question which can come. Vaccine platforms, mechanism of action. Remember, this can be a short note for you, but it is applicable to all the vaccination, but all the platforms have come in the COVID vaccine, especially the mRNA and the DNA vaccines have come in the, therefore we will just have some discussion on it. Therefore, there is, we know about inactivated vaccine and live attenuated vaccine, newer platform, recombinant proteins used for human papilloma virus as well as hepatitis B, and vectors used for Ebola vaccine. Okay, now some platforms such as mRNA and DNA vaccines had never been employed as a prior to COVID-19. General description differ platform for COVID vaccines are presented. Now comes, this is difficult for you to understand. There is inactivated virus, whole virus vaccine, and there are viral competent vaccine like messenger RNA, vector virus, the vector which is replicating, the vector which is not replicating, and the recombinant protein and the DNA. We are more concerned about the messenger RNA. All others we have discussed in detail. Now, what is the messenger RNA virus? Now, if you want to understand the virus that causes COVID-19, okay, coronavirus like the one that causes COVID-19 are named for the crown, the spikes, whatever the messenger RNA or the Messenger RNA is a genetic material that tells your body to make the proteins. What is the vaccine? The vaccine is made of messenger RNA wrapped in a coating that makes delivery easy and keeps the body from damaging it. It's a protein, is injected. How the vaccine works? The messenger RNA in the vaccine teaches your cells to make more copies of the spike protein. If you are exposed to a real virus later, your body will recognize. Therefore, it is messenger RNA, and then your body makes spike protein. My question to Rose is, this messenger RNA was carried out in a very big. What are the advantages and disadvantages of mRNA vaccine? mRNA is going to be the future of vaccination. Not kill vaccine. What is the advantage of messenger RNA vaccine over this? Any idea? Suppose you are asked a short note of a messenger RNA, you must say not available in India. Messenger RNA was the vaccine in COVID-19. It produced what I will tell you what's the advantage. We will come to that. Therefore, now we will inactivated vaccine. What we have is corona. It was the first one. Sinovac was produced in China. We produce Covaxin. Live attenuated. I don't think we produce Covivac. Covivac is live action. I am not sure whether it's in early trials. Now we are more interested in the messenger RNA. Now, can you read it around? Messenger RNA, can you read horizontally? Rose, can you read?
Yes, messenger RNA vaccines consist of mRNA encoding target gene. Once administered, mRNA transited into a target protein which elicit immune response. COVID-19 vaccine examples are
Forget it. Pfizer and
BioNTech,
Moderna. That's enough. Now remember about the
Moderna.
comments. This is the comments.
mRNA in cell cytoplasm does not enter nucleus and does not interact with or integrate into the recipient DNA, may require low temperature storage.
That's the most important thing. You are more concerned about DNA vaccine because they go inside the cells. And then therefore, whenever you are changing the DNA of a host, you are more worried. But here the messenger RNA does not enter the nucleus. It stays outside the nucleus, does not interfere with the genetic material of the host. And therefore, it's a very safe vaccine. That's why messenger RNA is problem. But what's the problem with messenger RNA? Storage. And is there any other advantage? Advantage number 2, you want to produce new vaccine, new virus. Previously, you will have to kill the virus, attenuate it, animal experiments, everything. Now, nothing like that. You can immediately produce a messenger RNA for the Omicron factor and put it in the cell. But of course, genetic imprint created a problem in this. So remember, messenger RNA is a new type. It has advantages, does not interfere with the host genetic material. You can produce messenger RNA virus vaccines against new strains very fast, and that is the advantage. But the problem is with storage. Is a highly is not available in developing countries. Vector associated vaccine, we told about it. So some vector replicating. I think that is non-replicating and replicating. And adenovirus is often used. We used it in Covishield, withdrew it because of this problem. Now, recombinant human papilloma hepatitis B, the DNA viruses. Therefore, we will talk something about the DNA virus. Can you read it horizontally? DNA virus.
DNA vaccines
consist
of plasmid DNA that contains mammalian expression promoters and the target gene so that the target protein is expressed in the recipient. Psychovid vaccine are often of low immunogenicity, need special delivery devices, example, electrophoresis.
Okay, now psychovid, therefore DNA, you may wonder why mRNA, why DNA, they are not told about this. People are not very happy in altering the DNA of the host. That's one of the things. They are also of lower immunogenicity. They cannot be reproduced as far as the mRNA vaccine is concerned. But this is actually in Western countries, this is an advantage because it doesn't require an injection. There's special delivery. You just give a shot, it works. Therefore, but it is of lower DNA. Therefore, when you are asked a short note for 9 marks or 5 marks about virus platforms. Be prepared to write it. Killed vaccine, live vaccine, subunit vaccines, and finally DNA vaccine, messenger RNA vaccines. These are the new vaccines which you should know. My final question, messenger RNA vaccine, DNA vaccine, are they killed vaccine or live vaccines? Anybody? Lasima, you are there? Disappeared. Huh?
Live
I don't know anybody there other than Rose.
Sir,
Paris.
last event fair.
Okay. Faris, you answer. Is the mRNA a live vaccine or a killed vaccine?
Killed vaccine.
mRNA.
Huh? Fundamental question I am asking you, because this when during the period of COVID, I was laughing at when people were talking. Some people said it's live vaccine, some people said these are experts in the field. Remember, go and ask your consultant, mRNA is a live vaccine or a killed vaccine. Then you will know. DNA vaccine, are they killed or wild? Okay, anyway, we'll come to that later. Now read this. Can you
14-year-old boy.
Yeah, read.
A 14-year-old boy develops chest pain and tachycardia 3 days after receiving a second mRNA vaccine. ECG shows ST elevation. Troponin is elevated. What is the most appropriate next step?
Fast, please fast. Who's reading? Lasima?
Yes, sir.
Read it fast because we are short of time.
Administer another dose of vaccine immediately. Be admitted for cardiac monitoring and treat with NSAIDs plus rest. Start corticosteroids empirically. Order echocardiogram only if symptom persists beyond 48 hours.
Yeah, this is pericarditis or myocarditis, a known complication. But what do you do? Can you read it now? Answer.
Post-mRNA myocarditis is typically mild, self-limiting, and managed with supportive care, NSAIDs, and activity restriction. Admission for monitoring is standard. Corticosteroids are not first line unless refractory.
I didn't get that corticosteroids indication. I didn't see anywhere, but it's given in the answer. Okay. Remember, the severe known complication of messenger RNA vaccination is myocarditis and pericarditis, not thrombocytopenia, which is adenovirus. We have read this ago. Therefore, where it is primarily observed in adults and young adult males, after second messenger RNA, cases are typically mild, respond well to treatment, resolve quickly. Therefore, there is myocarditis. Sudden death is, many people say suddenly people die, maybe due to COVID vaccine. No, it is very, very rare. Post-immunization, this is in the purple book itself. Pericarditis occur more frequently in adults and in young adults. Within 7 days after receiving the second dose of messenger RNA, clinical course tends to be mild in most patients. Remember this. Okay. Can you read it?
Which of the following is a contraindication to receiving any COVID-19 vaccine? A. Mild fever of 37.8 degrees Celsius. History of anaphylaxis to peanuts. C. Anaphylaxis to polyethylene glycol after prior mRNA vaccine. Reason Epstein-Barr virus infection.
This is actually
Anaphylaxis to polyethylene.
Yeah, the answer is history of allergic reaction to polyethylene glycol. It seems this is not a it is present in the mRNA vaccine, not present in other vaccines. Okay.
In India, which vaccine is manufactured using the Pichia pastoris yeast expression system?
Can anybody?
Corby.
When we told the vaccines available, we said it is Corbevax. It's a recombinant protein vaccine expressing. Okay. Can you read it?
Yes, Corbevax is a recombinant protein subunit vaccine expressing the RBD of spike protein using the Pichia pastoris system and
Oh, that's
CPG
enough.
1018 alum.
What is Pichia pastoris system? I told you. Recombinant technology using Pichia pastoris expression system means Pichia pastoris, I understand, is a type of virus. Expression is a microbial fermentation process that uses methyl tropic yeast Pichia pastoris as a host produce high level of recombinant proteins. They ask you, this is not very important, but Corbevax, remember, subunit vaccine, effective against Omicron, containing receptor binding by S protein produced through recombinant technology using Pichia pastoris is supposed to be available in India as per the Purple Book. Can you read it?
Why did the CDC withdraw authorization for monovalent boosters in September 2022? They were found to be cause increased myocarditis. To ensure uniform use of variant updated vaccines as circulating strains evolved, supply shortage occurred, public demand dropped.
We saw this. Why did they bring about? You see, what happened is Omicron came, they panicked, they brought about the bivalent vaccine, and they banned the monovalent vaccine. That is to ensure use of variant update vaccines. If they remember this, if you read it, here it is written. Can you read this fast?
Rapid policy shift and authorization. Despite the lack of strong immunogenicity data and the fact that BA1 was already displaced in the US, public health officials facing winter and emerging immune evasive subvariants made rapid decisions. The FDA authorized bivalent boosters targeting BA4, BA5 based on the assumption they would be better than monovalent ones. The CDC withdrew authorization for monovalent booster and recommended bivalent boosters for everyone 5+ years old.
That was a failure, imprinting, everything we have discussed. Okay. Why did the CDC, what's the answer to this? Why did the CDC withdraw authorization for monovalent vaccine? Which is the answer? After giving you the answer, you're not answering. Anybody? Paris, you want to answer? Rose, you want to answer if you're there? To inform uniform use, is not B. The variant, the new vaccine came, they didn't want to have two vaccination in the market. Therefore, they withdrew the monovalent vaccine. Okay, that's what they did. Okay. Now let's go ahead and see.
Statement about long COVID and vaccination is supported by current evidence. Vaccination increases risk of long COVID. Vaccination reduces the risk of developing long COVID after breakthrough infection. Only mRNA vaccine reduce long COVID risk. Vaccination has no effect on pre-existing long COVID symptoms.
Quick. We saw this. Anybody? Rose, can you answer?
Vaccination reduced the risk of developing long COVID after breakthrough.
There's Majida. Who's answering?
Majida, sir.
Okay. I have to know you from your voice. What happened in between you left? Ashwati is not to be seen. Okay. Multi-observational experience. They said long COVID also is decreased in vaccine. Appropriate option will minimize the risk of infection, potentially long COVID also. Long COVID vaccination associated with lower risk of developing long COVID and may improve symptoms in some individuals. Even if they have long COVID, you give a vaccination, the symptoms may improve. Okay. Can you read this?
A 10-month-old infant born prematurely at 32 weeks with chronic lung disease should receive which vaccine schedule? A. Wait until 12 months due to prematurity. B. Follow same schedule as term infants. 2 25 microgram doses of original Moderna 1 month apart. C. Only one dose Pfizer. D. Avoid vaccination until 2 years of age.
What is it? High risk, therefore has to be vaccinated. Western countries from 6 months they will vaccinate. Therefore, original Moderna will have to be given. And the people who receive it include healthy who are at high risk or severe outcome. Therefore, preterm babies with chronic lung disease are at high risk. Therefore, you give same schedules term infants. No, yeah, follow the same schedule as term infants. They give what is it? The answer is prematurity. The answer is B. Follow same schedule as term infants. 2 25 microgram doses. Above 5 years, about 12 years is 50, below 5 years, below 12 it is 25, 2 doses. Moderna given more about 6 months. Here, prematurity is not a contraindication. Children more than 6 months underlying condition. Here he has got chronic lung disease, high risk, and follow age appropriate schedules.
What is the primary advantage of recombinant protein vaccine, example Novavax, Corbevax, over mRNA vaccine? A. Higher efficacy against symptomatic infection. B. Better thermal stability and familiarity with technology. C. Ability to induce mucosal immunity. D. Single dose regimen.
Straightforward, please, Majida. Lasima, give the answer. Faris. Rose, you want to answer? Rose is gone, I think. Oh, we went through this several times. Better thermal stability,
Better thermal stability.
familiarity with technology, because recombinant protein, most of the vaccines, skill vaccines, they require 2 to 8 degrees centigrade only, 8 degrees centigrade. And live vaccine may be more vulnerable, especially oral polio. And this mRNA vaccine is minus 75. That's a major problem. Therefore, protein subunit vaccines are stable 2 to 8, do not require ultra cold chains, and use well-established technology. Example, hepatitis B vaccine, we have already used it, making them ideal for low middle income countries. Okay, let's leave it. Recombinant, they're good. In a country with a, okay, increase it. Now read it.
In a country with low vaccine coverage, what is the most effective strategy to increase uptake among parents? A. Mandate vaccination for school entry. B. Engage community health workers and provide clear, culturally tailored education on benefits versus rare risk. C. Distribution free vaccine without counseling. D. Use social media influencers exclusively. B, sir. Engage
Yeah,
community
you
health
must
workers.
use your common sense also, because some people may say in the Gulf will say mandate vaccination after school. This is what they did in the Gulf. But you know what happens? Children may not come to school. Therefore, this is what you said is right. B is the right answer.
Which
Okay.
of the following is not a recognized risk factors for severe COVID-19 in children? A. Obesity. B. Asthma. C. History of Kawasaki disease resolved. D. Sickle cell disease.
Well, you was a risk factor for COVID should be the risk factor for you. UK. This is not given anywhere. It's given in up to date. History of Kawasaki receives resolved is the answer. That means the others like obesity, asthma, and sickle cell disease are risk factors for COVID. It's not given anywhere. And if you look at it, risk factors for severe COVID, there's a big list like this. In that, you will find asthma established and probable. You go to a next answer here. I think this is more clear. You will find asthma is there. Medical, even depression is there, schizophrenia is there, smoking is there. But what is interesting is asthma, obesity, sickle cell are there, but there is no resolved currency disease. Then, of course, the others are risk factors are immunosuppressed patients. Therefore, we can't, I'm not going into that in full detail. Higher risk, immunocompressed patient, moderate risk of patient, and lower risk of patients. Okay, all this is given in up to date, but I don't think we can remember all that.
What is the most common systemic adverse event reported after pediatric COVID-19 vaccination? A. Anaphylaxis. B. Myocarditis. C. Fatigue. D. Thrombocytopenia.
If you have taken it, most common, we must remember it very carefully. Most common, what is it? You're not seeing the PowerPoint presentation. That's a problem. Okay. Read it. Rose, you want to answer? Anybody?
Fatigue.
Paris S, once
Fat-
more. Very good.
Fatigue.
Yeah, if you have taken, you will know it. I had fatigue for 1 week actually. Therefore, the rationale is fatigue, headache, myalgia, fever are common systemic. Myocarditis and anaphylaxis are extremely rare, and there's no mention of intracerebral hemorrhage or stroke or anything following the thrombocytopenia. Okay, that was there only for adenoviral. Therefore, that is the up-to-date common adverse. Fatigue is very, very common. Okay, the most frequently solicited adverse events overall are headache followed by pyrexia, fatigue, myalgia, less than 1% of the participants. Here also they have written systemic reaction, myocarditis, the severe reaction, okay? Anaphylaxis. And the most important I want you to know is no credible evidence links vaccination with infertility, Guillain-Barré, ischemic stroke. Many people will say we are seeing more stroke, more major events beyond those listed above. What is listed? Anaphylaxis, myocarditis. And even the myocarditis improves. Remember this. Okay, read the answer question, please. Hello, anybody? Everybody has slept over.
A 6-year-old previously
Yeah, carry on, read.
a 6-year-old previously infected with SARS-CoV-2 4 months ago. What is the current recommendation? A. Do not vaccinate. Natural immunity sufficient. B. Administer 1 dose of 25-26 vaccine. C. Wait 12 months before vaccinating. D. Give full 2-dose primary series.
He's already had a viral infection. Will it not produce lifelong immunity? Do you have to vaccinate him again? We told that in the previous column. Anybody with the answer?
So,
Okay, read the answer.
Even with prior infection, vaccination is recommended to broaden and enhance immunity. A single dose of updated vaccine is sufficient for immunocompetent children for more than or equal to 5 years.
Remember this, when we were students, we were told if you have a measles, you don't have to vaccinate him. Measles produces lifelong immunity, even the vaccination does not. But nowadays, most of the diseases at the time of discharge, you have to vaccinate. Diphtheria, you have to vaccinate. Whooping cough, you have to vaccinate. Typhoid, you have to vaccinate, I think. If I remember rightly, yes, you have to vaccinate. And remember SARS also, you have to vaccinate. MISC, you have to vaccinate. Therefore, remember this, when you are writing the discharge, you have to know this. And this we already read. Key consideration we read. A miss pregnancy, it is supposed to be very strongly recommended. I told you that none of the gynecologists or pediatricians or physicians seems to know it. So now here, vaccination still recommended after prior source as it boosts and broadens immunity. Anyway, waiting for 3 months of post-infection reasonable but not required. Okay, carry on.
Which of the following is true about Covishield? It is a mRNA vaccine. It contains live attenuated chimpanzee adenovirus. It is a replication deficient chimpanzee adenoviral vector vaccine. It requires storage at minus 80 degree.
What's the answer? It is in the adenovirus. The adenovirus does not replicate. It's a replicate deficient chimpanzee adenoviral vector vaccine. But if we don't have to know much about it, it was the most important vaccine during the epidemic. It has been withdrawn. Therefore, it is in adenovirus, non-replicating virus, and only the spike protein is introduced into it. Okay. We have already gone through recombinant. We have stopped it, and they have stopped producing the vaccine. Now, it's a repeat question. Let me see whether you answer it. Majida, you read it.
Why were bivalent vaccines largely ineffective against BA4, BA5 despite being designed for them? They contain too little mRNA. The immune system responded primarily to the ancestral strain component. BA4, BA5 spike protein mutated during storage. They were administered incorrectly. The immune system responded primarily to the ancestral strain
I think
component.
it's a repeat question. We are not used from the NEJM article. Lack of superior efficacy shortly after authorization, no significant difference. Repeat, okay. We have gone through it.
Which vaccine is most suitable for a 13-year-old with nephrotic syndrome on high-dose steroids? Live attenuated vaccine, mRNA vaccine, whole inactivated vaccine, replication competent vector.
This is from a Western angle. Okay. Anybody can answer? Anybody, any idea? Of course, not live attenuated. You can't give for immunosuppressant patient. Replication competent vector, whole inactivated virus. Rose, can you answer? Hello, can you give mRNA? You don't know, you say don't know. Rose, you are there? You're gone.
Then vectors.
Huh?
Replication competent vector.
Okay, read it. Now, here is the most important thing I want to tell you. The messenger RNA proteins are non-live vaccines and safe in immunocompressed patients. I have no comparison on it. I have seen experts, infectious disease experts and others, pathologists, coming and telling mRNA is a live vaccine. No, it is a non-live vaccine. That's why you give in immunosuppressed patients. That's why it requires boosters. Please remember this. This during the COVID epidemic, 1 hour discussion whether booster is required, and some people telling it's required, some people telling it's not required, everything. Therefore, boosters are required. Be very clear. Messenger RNA, DNA viruses are non-live vaccines, and they can be given for this. Okay, now. Can you read it fast? Quick. These are not important questions.
What is the most appropriate action if a 4-year-old accidentally receives 0.5 ml of adult Pfizer instead of pediatric 10 max? Repeat the dose immediately. Do not repeat. Monitor for increased reactogenicity. Administer antipyretics and observe withhold future doses. Do not repeat. Monitor for increased reactogenicity.
That's a common sense answer. Okay, now next.
Which statement about COVID-19 vaccination in pregnancy is correct? Vaccination increases risk of stillbirth. Vaccination reduces risk of severe maternal illness and protect infants less than or equal to 6 months. mRNA vaccine causes placenta and causal fetal anomalies should be avoided in first trimester. It reduces the risk of severe maternal illness and protect infant less than or
Now
equal to
let me
6
tell you one thing, that maternal vaccination has been underfed. During an epidemic, the most important people to give is pregnant women. Also remember that flu vaccine, when it first came, the WHO says first target population is pregnant women, second is children from 6 months to 2 years. Therefore, but pregnancy hardly anybody gives. I don't know, even during COVID epidemic they gave. Therefore, it is up to you to educate the gynecologist, but I'm sure that obstetrician never listened to us. But we can discuss with them. It's very important. Okay, that's okay. Next, pregnancy was strongly recommended. That is what it is. Okay. Okay. Next question.
In a rural clinic in Nigeria, which vaccine would be most logistically feasible to store and administer? Pfizer BioNTech mRNA, Moderna mRNA, Covaxin inactivated, Zydus Zykov D DNA.
What is it? Covaxin, common sense. This is not inactivated vaccine. Further, Modi is giving them free vaccine also. Requires standard refrigeration 2 to 8, while mRNA needs deep freeze. That's the most important thing. You can't store minus 75 degree. Who can store? Even in All India Institute, they may not be able to do it. Therefore, Zydus also is a complicated virus. Covaxin is coming in the flight free. Nigeria can do it. What's the primary reason? Okay.
What is the primary reason the FDA authorized bivalent boosters despite lacking human efficacy data against BA4, BA5? A pressure from pharmaceutical company, B anticipatory action based on antigenic similarity in urgent winter surge threat, C. Superior animal model data. D. Legal mandate under emergency powers. Anticipatory action based on.
Yeah. This is what happens. You take decisions normally before this when a EUA, emergency authorization or something, it is coming. That has been given to all these vaccines. Previously, it used to take about 12 years before they authorized a vaccine. Here, they were under tremendous pressure because the Omicron was spreading, causing death. Therefore, they immediately introduced the bivalent vaccine and stopped the monovalent vaccine. What happened? The bivalent was not more effective because of genetic imprinting. Prevalence, if the season was coming, they rapidly introduced it. You can't criticize them, but this is what happened. We have already read this. Which is
Which
not
of the following is not a component of Corbevax? Recombinant RBD protein, aluminum hydroxide, CpG 1018, polyethylene glycol.
Well, this is not very important. Corbevax is a protein subunit with alum, adjuvant PEG in protein. This polyethylene glycol is a feature of mRNA vaccine. That's why allergy to it is important. Okay. Corbevax we have already seen. Remember, okay, next.
A 12-year-old with Down syndrome and congenital heart disease should receive no vaccine due to high risk of adverse event. Full recommended schedule for age and condition. Only one dose of Novavax. Delay until age 16. Full recommended schedule.
Yeah, that we have, it's a repeat of the question. Okay. Ideally, underlying medical conditions are high-risk patients. Remember, high-risk 65 years and older, children 4 years and younger, but we can't give it in India, immunocompromised patients. Okay.
What is the significance of F45-6L mutation Omicron subvariants like JN1 and LP81? Increases transmissibility but reduces virulence, confers resistance to monoclonal antibody neutralization, enhances binding to ACE2 receptor, reduces vaccine effectiveness by 100%.
Omicron, the new virus that came in to produce panic in the Western world. It produced panic here also. See, the thing is that increases transmissibility but reduce virulence. No, it is more virulent. Enhances binding to ACE2 receptors, not known. Reduces vaccine effective by 100%. No, the previous vaccine effect was Omicron was less severe in patients who were vaccinated. There was some cross protection. But monoclonal antibody, you cannot resist it. Monoclonal antibody was a questionable one given to Trump, and he survived because of that. And later on, it was given here. And I know many doctors who took it in KIMS and all and survived. There were monoclonal antibody, however. Now read the answer.
F456L is a key mutation in the receptor binding domain associated with escape from neutralizing antibodies, including those induced by prior infection or vaccination monoclonal therapies like pemivibart.
Therefore, it is an alteration in the receptor. Therefore, neither the previous antibodies nor the your monoclonal antibody is going to affect it. We do have COVID monoclonal antibody. It was given in some hospitals, costing lakhs of rupees. Read about severe disease and death. Okay, read this.
Severe disease or death. Vaccination significantly reduces the risk of severe illness, hospitalization, and death across all age groups, including during periods dominated by immune-evasive variants like Omicron sublineages, JN1, Capitus, XCC. Effectiveness against severe outcomes is higher and more durable than against infection.
Okay, severe disease, definitely. They will remember there are a lot of benefits of the symptomatic infection decreases, transmission, yes, it decreases, long COVID decreases, overall health of the patient improves. Therefore, if anybody asks you, is there any benefit? Yes. You have to high risk, above 65, definite. Below children, low risk, say for below 4 years indicated, but no vaccine available here. Above that if a patient comes about 5-10, I think the vaccination should be available. If available, low risk, it's up to them to give it or not.
Which of the following statements best reflects an evidence-based approach to annual boosters in children? A. All children should receive annual boosters regardless of risk. B. Boosters should be reserved for high-risk children. Healthy children benefit minimally from frequent boosting. C. Annual boosters are unnecessary because natural immunity is lifelong. D. Boosters should be delayed until adolescent. For high-risk children,
Yeah, high-risk children, healthy children benefit minimally from frequent boosting. Therefore, America has given, therefore, but it is heavily criticized, okay? As argued, annual boosters for all children resemble influenza policy are not justified. They may ask, you are giving for influenza, why not for COVID-19? And they say that the disease, the immunity is durable, but it is not lifelong. Okay, influenza, the strains vary every year. But you can't compare influenza vaccination with COVID vaccination. The last question. I have read this, over the past years, United States annual COVID vaccine. I said we don't have to go through it. Here is written, COVID vaccine induced immunity may not require annual updates for the most clinically meaningful health outcome, but may have be triggered by significant antigenic shift. Second, COVID has summer transmission that can, anyway, if there is an antigenic shift, you may have to give it if this is proved. Otherwise, it is not required. Europe does not give it. America gives it. Last question.
in a low-income country with no cold chain for mRNA vaccine, which vaccine strategy is most sustainable? Import mRNA vaccine with portable freezers. Use locally produced inactivated or protein subunit vaccine. Wait for global supply of thermostable mRNA. Rely solely on natural herd immunity. Use locally produced
Yeah,
inactivated.
locally produced. That's what we are doing. Covaxin and Corbevax are what is locally. Therefore, that's the end of the. See, the main thing you have to remember about COVID is that it is not being is not in the national immunization program. Is not in an epidemic situation. Therefore, the government is silent about it. That's what I understand. Vaccines are not available in the government supply. Therefore, there's no question of normal immunization in the government sector. Suppose the parents come and ask you whether it should be given, definitely, even without epidemics, Covaxin has got a role. It need not be given annually. But then it has benefit in multiple reasons, severe disease, etc. You as a doctor should know that you should keep your fingers crossed. If you are not testing, how will you know whether COVID-19 is there? The way it is not being tested, you are not sure whether it is not there. It may not be there. If you are not testing even for ventilated children you had a 6 or 7-year-old child who required high amount PICU care and you don't test for it, when are you ever going to diagnose COVID-19? And pregnant women are supposed to be highly indicated, but maybe it is not an epidemic, therefore it is not required in India. And why these important is that the platforms, the vaccination platforms are best mRNA vaccine, DNA vaccine, killed vaccine. Therefore, that can come as a short note. And the side effects in the press, it comes that it has killed many children. Even I believe that intracerebral hemorrhage is very common now. mRNA does not produce. It is only the adenovirus vector virus which was produced, and it has been withdrawn from the market. Now I would stop the share. Only Majida is there. Nobody else is there. Hello, Paris, you are there.
Yes, sir.
Lasima is
Lasima is there. Huh? Okay, let me stop the recording first. Where is the recording going? Always in slideshow. And I'll close it. chat or stop recording. Okay, I have